In the quiet glow of a late October evening, the kind where the air carries the crisp scent of fallen leaves and the golden light spills through the windows like a warm memory, I stood in my kitchen preparing to leave for my son James's house for dinner. The clock on the wall ticked steadily, a soft rhythm that reminded me of the years gone by when the house was full of laughter and the clatter of children's feet. I adjusted my scarf, a soft woolen one that my late wife Margaret had knitted years ago, and picked up the pie I'd baked that afternoon. Pumpkin, of course, a tradition we'd held on to since the kids were small. The house felt peaceful as I stepped out the door, locking it behind me with a gentle click. The drive to James's place was short, just a few miles through the familiar streets of our little town where every corner held a story. I thought of Margaret as I drove, her gentle smile and the way she'd always insist on making extra pie for the neighbors. James and his wife Emily would be waiting with their 2 boys, little echoes of the past running around the living room. I parked the car and carried the pie to the door, feeling the weight of it in my hands, a small offering of love. Dinner was warm and filled with the kind of chatter that fills a heart. The boys giggled over their mashed potatoes, and James told stories of his work while Emily passed around the pie. I sat back watching them, feeling the years settle into my bones like a comfortable ache. After dessert, I helped clear the table and then settled into the armchair by the fireplace, a spot that reminded me of evenings with Margaret. The fire crackled softly, and I let my mind drift, lulled by the sound. It was nearly 9 when my phone rang, breaking the quiet. I fumbled for it in my pocket and saw the number of my cleaning lady Ruth. Her voice came through hesitant, almost trembling. "Someone is in your house," she said, and my heart gave a little jolt. I thanked her quickly and told James I needed to go. He offered to come with me, but I waved him off, saying I'd be fine. The drive back was tense, the pie box still on the passenger seat, a silent companion. The streets were darker now, the warm glow replaced by shadows, and I felt a shiver that had nothing to do with the cold. When I pulled into the driveway, the house looked the same as I'd left it, the curtains swaying slightly in the breeze from the open window. I stepped out cautiously, the gravel crunching under my shoes, and approached the door. It was unlocked, a fact that sent a ripple of unease through me. I pushed it open slowly and stepped inside, the familiar scent of home greeting me. The living room was dim, but I saw a figure by the window, a woman standing there, her back to me. She turned and I froze. It was Clara, my sister-in-law, the one we hadn't spoken to in decades. Her hair was grey now, and her face carried the lines of time, but her eyes were the same, sharp and searching. She held a photograph in her hands, one of Margaret and me from our wedding day. I felt my breath catch as memories flooded back, the good and the painful. Clara set the photo down and stepped toward me, her voice soft. "I'm sorry," she said, and the words hung in the air like a fragile thread. We sat at the kitchen table, the pie still untouched between us. Clara began to speak, her voice low and steady. She told me of a secret she'd carried for years, a betrayal that had torn our family apart. Margaret had confided in her once about a love letter from a man before we were married. Clara had found it, and in a moment of jealousy, had shown it to our mother, thinking it would protect me. The fallout had been swift. Margaret and I had fought bitterly, and Clara had been cast out. I listened, my hands clasped tightly on the table, feeling the weight of those lost years. I remembered that fight with Margaret, the way her eyes had filled with tears, and the silence that followed. We'd worked through it, eventually building a life together, but the rift with Clara had never healed. Now here she was, her face etched with regret. I thought of the wisdom I'd gained over the years, the understanding that love isn't perfect, that it bends and breaks, but can mend with time. I reached across the table and took her hand, feeling the roughness of her skin, a mirror to my own. We talked late into the night, the clock ticking on as we pieced together the past. Clara had come back because she was alone now, her husband gone, and her children far away. She'd heard of Margaret's passing and felt the pull to make amends. I thought of the times I'd sat with Margaret in this very kitchen, talking of forgiveness and the strength it takes to offer it. The pie sat between us, a silent witness to our reconciliation. In the morning light filtering through the curtains, Clara helped me make breakfast, the smell of coffee and toast filling the air. We laughed a little over old memories, the kind that come with age and the softening of old wounds. I told her she could stay as long as she liked. The house was big enough for two. She smiled a genuine smile, and I felt a warmth spread through me, the kind that comes from connection. As the days turned to weeks, Clara and I fell into a routine. We tended the garden together, the roses Margaret had loved blooming under our care. I taught her the recipe for the pumpkin pie, and she shared stories of her travels, stories that brought the world into our quiet home. The boys came to visit and accepted Clara, with the ease of youth, asking her to tell them tales. James and Emily welcomed her too, their kindness a reflection of the love Margaret and I had instilled. One evening as we sat by the fireplace, Clara handed me a letter she'd written an apology to Margaret that she'd never sent. I read it slowly, feeling the tears prick at my eyes. I told her Margaret would have forgiven her, that love always finds a way back. We burned the letter in the fire, watching the flames take it up, a release of the past. The warmth of the fire wrapped around us, and I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. The seasons changed, and with them came a deeper understanding. Clara and I grew closer, sharing the wisdom of our years, the lessons of patience and grace. The house filled with life again, the sound of laughter and the scent of baking. I thought often of Margaret, her spirit seeming to linger in the walls, encouraging this healing. The pie became a symbol, for us a reminder, that even after betrayal and secrets, love can rise again. One afternoon, Clara fell ill, a quiet fading that took her quickly. I sat by her bed, holding her hand as she slipped away. She whispered thank you, her voice barely audible, and I nodded, tears falling freely. After she was gone, I sat with the silence, feeling the ache of loss, but also the comfort of our time together. The house grew quiet again, but it was a different quiet one, filled with memories of love and forgiveness. I baked a pie that day, placing it on the table where we'd sat so many times. The sunlight streamed in, casting a golden glow, and I felt Margaret's presence beside me. I thought of the years, the joys and the sorrows, and the strength it takes to rebuild. The phone rang, breaking my reverie, and I smiled knowing life would go on. The pie sat there, a testament to the love that endures. Through all things, a gentle reminder for anyone who might listen.